All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a truly phenomenal piece of world building. We're talking about a grim, dark, gothic fable where ancient magic collides head on with cold, industrial nihilism. We're looking at a terrifying entity known as the Mechanical Reaper. It's this brilliant archetype that synthesizes German literature, folklore, and some seriously heavy philosophical concepts into one unforgettable nightmare. It's an incredible narrative, and we're going to unpack exactly how the whole thing works. To immediately plunge us into the thick, choking smog of this universe, listen to this chilling monologue spoken by the primordial Reaper entity itself. It says, "I was the first pull of the dirt. Now I have written their elegies in brass cogs." Wow. This isn't just some monster growling in the dark, right? This is a highly articulate, incredibly cynical force of nature, declaring that the old gods are dead and it has actively replaced them with relentless, unfeeling machinery. Notice how the Reaper is framed here. It's not a simple specter or a ghost floating around. It is a terrifying synthesis of philosophy and raw power. The text refers to it as Der Kosmische Totengräber, the cosmological undertaker. It has totally transcended the classic Grim Reaper trope. It's become a cosmic apex predator that marries the unstoppable, automated pacing of modern industrial progress with the absolutely immutable laws of cosmic fate. It is, quite literally, destiny mechanized. To anchor all this heavy philosophy in our fable's framework, the source text introduces us to Jacob. Jacob is the last scholar-smith of the High Peaks, and he is desperately hiding in a place called the Iron Parish. The environment is just bleak, rust-streaked peaks and a choking, yellow smog rolling through the gorges like a tide. Jacob is pressing his back against a crumbling monolith, tracing a faint, glowing blue protection rune. He represents the desperate, fragile human element, staring down the barrel of an approaching mechanical god. The lore maps out a terrifying evolutionary line for this apex predator. Step 1, it begins as the Aub, which is a primeval predatory spirit. Step 2, it evolves into the traditional Germanic deathfetch, a wanderer of folklore. And finally, Step 3, it willingly submits its ancient shadowy mass to mechanical augmentation, becoming a high dystopian cybernetic titan. It completely bridges the gap between primeval dread and sci-fi horror. Section 1. The Shadow Made Steel. So the absolutely crucial point here is the contrast between the romantic natural harvest and the cold systematic slaughterhouse. In classical folklore, death claims souls one by one out of natural necessity. Picture a simple wooden handle and a flint blade. But this Mechanical Reaper completely shatters that romantic notion. It turns the harvest into a factory process. It's built of charred skeletal anatomy and reinforced cast iron, driven entirely by pressurized steam. It perfectly mirrors the relentless expansion of the 19th century Ruhr Valley factories. As this quote from the Reaper illustrates, it realized that a simple blade just couldn't keep pace with the multiplying swarms of human ambition. So what did it do? It crawled into our foundries. Driven by internal steam combustion and grinding gears, it doesn't just wait around for life to end anymore. It systematically manufactures the end of life. It treats human existence as mere raw material to be fed straight into its roaring internal furnace. Section 2. Colonizing the Sacred Word. The Reaper literally carved the oldest, most sacred runes of binding directly into its interlocking brass pistons. We're talking shimmering gold and crimson glyphs of stasis, negation, and cessation. It uses these ancient symbols of cosmic law not to honor the universe, but to enslave it, creating this localized aura of absolute magical dampening. And the text gives us an incredibly visceral moment to show this in action. The Reaper raises its hydraulically assisted scythe, with pneumatic tubes forcing the blade to vibrate at a lethal frequency. As it does, it activates those etched runes. The protective blue light on Jacob's monolith just flickers and turns to ash. The very air loses its warmth. The Reaper's cynical logic literally unmakes the ambient magic of the world around it. It's a game changer. Philosophically, this represents the ultimate subversion of logos, the primal power of language. Magic and spirituality are totally stripped of their transcendent qualities here. Sacred linguistic symbols are turned into rigid, unyielding source code for an automated slaughterhouse. The very tools of ancient creation are completely corrupted and weaponized against humanity. Section 3. The Logic of the Forge. Gathering the absolute last remnants of his will, Jacob tries to fight back.
He throws a handful of enchanted silver filings into the air, frantically chanting a rune of velocity to mask his escape through the choking yellow smog. This moment beautifully highlights the warmth, geometry, and passion of human effort. It's this organic, spiritual attempt to survive against a wall of cold, uncaring steel.
But the mechanical god is unbound by the limitations of flesh or simple magic. With a terrifying clack-whir, an array of steam-powered sensory arrays on the Reaper's shoulders instantly locks onto Jacob's heat signature through the mist. It combines those sensory arrays, pneumatic power, and ancient runes to create a system of absolute containment. Traditional spellcasting simply cannot hide you from industrial logic. No way.
Section 4. Stasis versus human striving. To really understand the Reaper, we have to understand what it hates. And it hates Streben. Streben is a concept representing the soaring human spirit, the passion, the artistic variation, and the chaotic ambition that define our existence. The entity views the striving as a chaotic error. To the Reaper, human ambition is just a messy glitch that constantly disrupts the perfect, cold equilibrium of the universe.
So let's break down this dark logic impartially. On one side, we have human striving, vibrant, artistic, but yeah, inherently chaotic. On the other side, the Reaper enforces a kind of Schopenhauer-esque cosmic pessimism, a flattening of individual will that results in a perfectly ordered gray stasis. The Reaper genuinely believes that by erasing the chaos of passion, it is achieving universal perfection.
By actively hunting down the exceptional, the magical, and the artistic, people exactly like our scholar-smith Jakob, the Reaper acts as the supreme custodian of the last man. This directly connects to Friedrich Nietzsche's warning of the Götterdämmerung, the twilight of the gods. The Reaper wants to flatten all reality into a state where nothing new can ever grow, where the only remaining sound is the indifferent ticking of its own clockwork heart. Section 5. The inescapable clockwork trap. The Reaper's sensory arrays lock on, and the great runed scythe falls. But it's vital to understand what happens here. It doesn't just cut through the stone monolith Jacob is hiding behind. The text explicitly states it cuts through the very fabric of Jacob's spellcasting. It severs his connection to the spiritual realm entirely. Actually, scratch that. It's more like it systematically negates his soul, rather than just killing the body. As Jacob is overtaken, he realizes the ultimate horror of the beast. Humanity built its own doom. We literally provided the entity with the mechanical logic of the industrial press, and we provided it with the linguistic language of magical creation. The Reaper just synthesized them to build a trap from which no soul could ever fly free. And perhaps the absolute most chilling part is the entity's cynical justification. It doesn't view itself as a villain at all. It views its monstrous evolution as a generous act of utility. It tells Jacob, I am merely the natural conclusion of your own striving. It actually believes it is simply correcting the error of human chaos, tidying up our multiplying ambitions into a perfectly ordered clockwork eternity. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to ponder. If our highest striving, our ambition, and our relentless technological progress only serve to fuel the forge of our own destruction, well, how do we escape the logic of the press? It's a haunting question that blends 19th century philosophy with incredible grimdark world building, leaving us to wonder if the clockwork eternity is a monster we are building ourselves.